Welcome to Talk is Cheap, where cheap is talk and talk is cheap. This week's episode, the Clinton body count. You don't want to piss off the Clintons. Welcome to another great episode of Talk is Cheap. We've got a good one for you today, a little bit of a political spin. With us tonight, as always, is Dustin Long.
Nice to meet you.
So, Dusty, how you been, bud?
Not bad. I really like your shirt.
Yes. I can't wait to hear the comments. Hail Satan. And next to me, Dan Hohlfeld. How's Dano doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty good. I actually have a little surprise for you guys.
Oh,
Ooh,
awesome.
I like
Exciting.
surprises, yeah.
Presents?
The greatest U.S. presidential candidate ever. Ron Paul action figures. I got superhero Ron Paul, and I got Ron Paul Commander-in-Chief.
Oh, nice.
My. Where'd you get these at?
President we should have had. Offline, it was a campaign to actually help his last, when did he run last? 2012, I think it was.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
Have you had him out of the box yet?
actually I have. It's not a special box anyway. It's
Just a box.
So we could put it back in and say it's never been opened.
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, I secretly played with these to save the world. Yahoo! I like it.
I like Ron Paul.
Yeah, Ron's a good guy.
Yeah, he is.
But that was a lot of election fraud going on there, so he should have won the Iowa caucus.
I think you should. That's definitely going to be a collector's item at some point in time.
I would hope so.
Yeah, I'd say it's a collector's item right now.
Oh, yeah.
That's pretty cool.
But yeah, they kind of cheaped out. He was supposed to talk, which they didn't do. They were having trouble with the manufacturer. So they, just to get these out, they had to go with somebody else and release them, so.
Oh, and they aren't talking action figures?
No, and they cheaped out. He was supposed to hold a pocket constitution in his hand. Nope, they couldn't do that either.
Didn't do that either.
Son of a gun.
This is kind of neat. I'm Ron Paul. I'm a congressman from Texas. I am the champion of the Constitution. Ideas spread. They can't stop them. An idea whose time has come cannot be stopped by any army or any government. Remember that.
Yeah, that's true.
It's good words of wisdom from Mr. Paul. But it's funny because, there's an old saying, you never trust anybody with two first names.
Oh, yeah, I've heard that before.
Oh, really? I never heard that one.
Yeah, that's an old saying. So,
Yeah, it is an old saying.
So Ron Paul, oof, here's a conundrum. I guess it's a moot point at this election cycle anyway, because poor Ron has taken a seat yet again from the election process, unfortunately. We'll get him next time.
I hope so.
Hey, speaking of politics,
Yeah.
I think that most of us here are in pretty strong agreement that, our current government is pretty corrupt. The systems we have in place, including the election system, is corrupt. Anybody who's been paying any attention has been really understanding how superdelegates kind of are a bunch of bullshit.
That's what pisses me off. It's like, how much superdelegates are worth how much?
Well, it's just it's the same amount of delegates, but let's say that you're a representative from the state of Wisconsin. You get a special, what they call a super delegate. Well, when the primaries happen and the vote goes on, they split the delegates up. Not in every case. Each state is a little different. But, if I get the majority of the votes, I get a majority of the delegates. Or some states are winner take all, where if I win, I get all of them. Well, a super delegate doesn't need to go along with what their state constituents voted for. So
okay,
They don't do what's popular.
they just can go. They go with who they want. So that's where all this special interest money and behind the table stuff. Hey, if you give me your delegates, Dan, I'll make sure that your cousin's construction business gets this great thing.
Yep.
And so
that kind of pisses me off because it's like, okay, they got delegates, super delegates. So I was like, well, maybe Ron should have super duper delegates.
yes. And it only takes one super duper delegate.
That's right.
Oh, that's funny. That's clever.
You want to play that fucking game?
Yeah, right.
God.
Well, anyway, I thought this was pretty interesting because, we've got on the Democratic side, we've got Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton really duking it out. You've got the establishment and anti-establishment. I think anybody that's been awake here in the last 10, 15 years or whatever understand that the Clintons kind of are in the pockets of a lot of large corporations, banks, stuff like that. They're doing a lot of pretty, what I feel is pretty unconstitutional and unpatriotic stuff, you know.
Agreed.
So as I was kind of just...
A lot of fraud.
Yes, and as I was perusing through the internet the other day, I came across what they called the Clinton body count. Okay? And I'm like, well, what the hell's this?
Yeah.
And what it is that there's a couple different websites, and I even think Wikipedia's got an article on it, but that are tracking the partial list. They say partial because the list keeps growing. You know, it's a work in progress of all of these people that have close association with the Clintons' lives, both Bill and Hillary, and how they wind up dead. Lawyers, witnesses, things like that. Whenever anything around the Clinton, I'll say the Clinton thing, you've got the Clintons, and then you've got the Clinton Foundation, and all sorts of evil stuff going on in there. Anytime somebody sticks their nose a little bit too close to that, they end up dead.
Catheter wrapped around their damn neck.
Yeah.
Well, not quite like that, but yeah, right? Yeah, similar stuff like...
they just kill them right away with a bullet and bury the body.
Yeah, like committing suicide by a single gunshot wound to the back of your head, things like that.
Double tap.
One that where a person shot themselves twice in the chest to kill themselves.
Yep.
Yeah, so
it happens.
What I found...
He's dedicated then. Huh?
Yeah, I know, right? And so what I wanted to do is spend just a couple minutes here going through a list. We're not going to cover everybody in this list, and each one of these is almost a separate kind of route to investigate of its own. So we're going to get a really high-level look. We're going to talk about some people. Most of the stuff is, back in the 90s and whatnot, kind of during the Bill Clinton rise and all that. But it's pretty interesting when you start seeing these people that just wind up mysteriously killed, and mostly suicide, but some are more unexplained as well. So, and I'd like to give thanks to the What Really Happened website. Saves me a lot of compiling. Don Adams, and Clintons were involved in this big Whitewater scandal back in the day as well. And anyway, Don Adams was a lawyer in Arkansas. That's where Bill Clinton was governor. Mm-hmm. Got involved trying to help people who were being swindled out of their life savings, okay? So somewhere along the line, friends of the Clintons were swindling people out, and this Don Adams gentleman got involved. Well...
They took him out, huh?
Yep. Don ended up getting murdered, and there's I click on the full-size article, and it doesn't really look that great, but it's tough to read, but he went missing, and then he was found dead. So there's the first one. Arkansas lawyer was trying to protect people like you and me from getting swindled out of money. Thank you, Dan. You're awesome. So moving on, then we've got a guy by the name of Gandy Baugh. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that right. He was an attorney representing Mr. Lassiter in a case concerning alleged financial misconduct. Mr. Lassiter was a close associate of Governor Clinton. He jumped out of a window of a multi-story building. He was later indicted on drug-related charges. Baugh's law partner was suicided 1 month later, too. So not only was this Gandy committed suicide, but also his partner at the time 1 month later did, too.
Jumped or pushed?
Yes, right. I think that's the $1 million question.
Yeah.
Pushed, thrown, coerced in one way or another. Probably this next one we may have heard about. Admiral Jeremy Burda. He was chief of naval operations, and he supposedly went home for lunch and decided to shoot himself in the chest, by one report twice, rather than be interviewed by Newsweek magazine. So this, he did leave a suicide note.
So Newsweek magazine was that bad, or he didn't want to do the interview?
Yeah. So he was going to kill him. I'm just going to go home at lunch and kill myself.
K2D4 would have came down there and been like, sure, I'll do it, yeah.
I'd rather shoot myself.
Yep. And what's really interesting here is he left 2 suicide notes, one for the troops in the Navy and one for his family. And basically, he committed suicide because he didn't felt like he should be wearing his the V, the combat symbol on his uniform. Okay, he had been wearing it, and that was apparently he'd been wearing them, and then he didn't feel like he should, and he was afraid Newsweek was going to call him out on it, and it was going to set a bad light on the Navy, so he was going to kill himself. Okay. Well, what's interesting, and he supposedly left 2 suicide notes, neither of which was released. They've since been released, or at least allegedly released. And then it says in the article here, in 1998, Navy Secretary John Dalton formally acknowledged that Borda had been entitled to wear the decoration. So it's kind of just made up there. So the reason why he supposedly killed himself is not legit. Oh, and the V for Valor pins. Pretty interesting.
Took the damn pins off.
Yep. I know, right? Just take the pins off and move on. So Ron Brown, former chairman of the Democratic National Committee and Commerce Secretary. Okay, so now we've got a high-ranking Democrat. He died along with 39 other people when the converted 737 carrying the group on a trip to Bosnia crashed while approaching the airport. He was on the verge of being indicted and was very publicly... he would very publicly state that he was going to cooperate to the fullest what he knew. Allegedly wanted to keep him from testifying, right? And the very next day after Ron died in this airplane, his lawyer died in a drive-by shooting. So his lawyer, who was representing him, died in a drive-by shooting. So, and this is great too. On leaving Ron Brown's funeral, President Clinton was seen laughing and joking until he saw the camera. And I remember seeing this at the time it happened. I guess I can't blow it up. Maybe Dano can. And now look, he's laughing and joking.
He's like, oh shit, there's a camera there.
And now here comes the tear, the eye wipe for the tear. Yep, isn't that funny?
Oh my.
So
if that isn't blatant, then I don't know what it is.
Yeah, right.
Well, they did this before at the Sandy Hook thing too. So
yeah, that's right. He did it at where who was it? Was laughing and joking. Yeah, it was laughing and joking, and then got up to the camera and then started.
Made sure he had the foundation set up the same night.
Yep.
Donations.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So James Bunch, an influential Texan, he was discovered to have a little black book containing the names of many influential persons in Texas and Arkansas who visited prostitutes. I think we all know of Mr. Clinton's taste for young women that do things for money.
He did not have sexual relations.
Yeah,
I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Yes, no. So
he didn't inhale either, did he? It was Clinton that said I didn't inhale?
Yeah, he didn't inhale.
Bush? Oh,
no, that was Clinton said he didn't inhale.
Okay, yeah.
That was Clinton.
Clinton said Obama said he smoked pot, but he won't legalize it.
Yeah. I think Obama
said he did inhale because they thought that was a purpose or something like that.
Yeah, because that's the idea. Yeah, that's what he said.
I have to ask this question. Remember, Senator, you are under oath. Did you inhale?
Yeah, somebody asked this question. I said that was the point.
That's the whole idea, right? So, well, love or hate Obama, at least he was honest about that. So, Eric Butera, he's an informant. He had information regarding the murder of White House intern Mary Mahoney. He was then sent into a known crack house to make an undercover buy and was beaten to death.
Wait, they sent him in undercover without support?
Yeah, apparently, yeah. So he was an informant and had information. So there you go buy some crack, and then he got beat to death inside.
Oh my! That sounds about right, though. Scroll up just a little bit. His mother was awarded $100 million in compensation, but a federal judge later slashed it to just $1 million.
Nice.
I read something about this where just for the news, like the main title would be like, oh, we awarded this person $250 million, whatever. But then 6 months later, they're going to get their money. Like, well, we reduced that to $250,000, and it's only because that never gets front page. It'll get 6 page or no page. Yep. So
well, it's just like these jail sentences had handed down to corporate CEOs for all the bad stuff, and they're going to get 10 years in prison, and then they appeal, and it's 6 months probation.
Yeah, right.
$100,000 fine. Caetano Carini. Hope I did that right. Probably won't care. He's not been around for a while. He suffered an unknown infection just before he was to testify. Death attributed to apparent food poisoning.
Interesting.
And he was the guy who filmed a White House shooting.
Ooh.
Pretty interesting. Director of Central Intelligence, William Colby, had divulged some CIA secrets, had revealed Congress's plans to kill Fidel Castro. He went missing. His canoe was recovered, and then he was found later. There's conflicting reports. He was found later floating in the water and whatnot. And basically, one of these government folks that were going to start dishing the beans basically on all the bad stuff the CIA is doing. And you can see, I mean, this list is going on forever. Suzanne Coleman had an affair with Clinton. She was 7 months pregnant at the time of her death. She was 26. She died of a suicide with gunshot wound to the back of her head.
That has to be a
Why would you do that?
Yep. She had told friends it was Bill Clinton's child.
oh shit.
Okay, oops, can't have that, can we?
Oh, nope.
Gregory Collins, the train deaths. That's a whole other thing, too, about this train deaths. We'll get to that. But he had information on the Ives Henry train deaths. He died from a gunshot blast to the face. Keith Coney, he witnessed the train deaths. He had information. He died in a motorcycle accident while being chased by a car. L.J. Davis, reporter investigating Clinton scandals, attacked at his hotel room in Little Rock. His notes were stolen.
Well, that doesn't sound fucking conspiracy at all, does it?
I know, right? Isn't that
Money
funny?
is here, cars here, keys are here, but you know what? Those damn notes were more important.
Mm-hmm. David Dry. They planned, and with this Pat person, planned a trip to Washington, D.C. by private plane. Pat, which produces the Clinton Chronicles, had to cancel, and David left without him, dying when the plane crashed. So maybe some last minute, hey, you better not get on that plane kind of thing.
Shit.
Daniel Dutko, co-chairman of Leadership 2000, DNC's main fundraising effort. He was vice chairman for the finance at DNC in 96. He died attributed to a bicycle accident in which it is claimed he struck his head on the concrete twice.
Twice.
Yes.
He was determined. Get back up and try to
Do it again.
Yeah.
Clinton bodyguards, attorney and Clinton fundraiser, plane exploded. And there's a look of pure evil there. Vincent Foster died, supposed suicide by gunshot. Suicide note was found a few days later, torn into pieces. It would turn out to be a forgery, so somebody did set it up there. So, I mean, and then we go right down the list. Look at this list. It's just growing and growing and growing. 4 Marine pilots. Kathy Ferguson.
Is she related to Turd Ferguson?
I don't know. We'll have to ask Alex Trebek.
Maybe that's the reason why she committed suicide.
Yep. Yeah, Kathy Ferguson, she was co-defendant along with Bill Clinton in Paula Jones' sexual harassment suit. She was a corroborating witness for Paula Jones.
Penthouse. What's that about?
I'm trying to read the top.
Carlos was a thermal imaging expert, had thermal imaging showing that at Waco, the FBI did start shooting.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Judy Gibbs, she was a Penthouse model as well as one of Bill Clinton's squeezes. And there were photos of him and Bill Clinton having sex, and they were going to try to blackmail and stuff.
Her house burnt down around her.
Paula Grober. I mean, we can go through. So, I guess what I'm saying here, guys, is don't fuck with the Clintons. And if something happens to me in the next couple of weeks after this episode airs, please know that it might be the Clintons. You know. So.
Well, it's interesting that you picked this, is because I was actually compiling some research on some of the doctors and engineers, because like the guy that says you can make a hydrogen engine and whatnot, they all die. Especially doctors working on cancer cures and AIDS cures and all these other things. They always end up like mysteriously like, hey, I got something interesting I'm gonna share with this next committee or whatever. And on the way there, they get in a car wreck or something.
One thing I wanted to say, like, it seems like their suicide thing of choice is usually a plane crash.
Oh yeah, there's a lot.
They make it really look like an accident.
Remember that one that disappeared, MH whatever?
Yeah, the Indonesian or flight or whatever it is. Yeah,
I read somewhere, and I'm gonna get this wrong. I'm going to do some more research, but like 13 people that were on there were all working for the CIA or some crazy shit, and there's all sorts of stuff.
And there's a Rothschild, I think, on it that stood to be the majority shareholder of some new tech company or something.
Okay, something like that. Yeah,
so there's some really crazy stuff on that too.
We could do these types of things all damn day long.
The list goes on and on.
Well, the elitists don't want to lose their power,
No.
So, well, I think this is great, Pete. Thanks for bringing it in.
Yeah, it's kind of scary when you start really digging into this stuff, man. Yeah. It's
kind of scary when you do a show on this shit too, huh?
Yeah,
I was always thinking about doing it, but now that you did it, I don't have to worry about it. So.
I'm just gonna go ahead and say I disagree with Pete. Please, everybody out there, knowing that I support and love my government. Watch, I'll be the first one to go.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, everybody. If you enjoy the episode, like, comment, subscribe, and share. I
you got it right.
Okay, like, comment, subscribe, and share.
So proud of you.
And as always, we always encourage people to suggest topics, add, their thoughts to the mix. Call members of the panel stupid. We
like to do that.
I think we've heard that one before.
Yeah, it's the internet, so you can do whatever you want, really. So
Never been called that. It's weird.
So thank you all for watching this episode of Talk is Cheap. Goody.
He's out of practice.
Yep, I am out of practice. Never mind. Talk, comment, like, subscribe, and share.
Talk, you said?
Don't talk.
No, comment.
Like, comment, subscribe, share.
Like, comment, subscribe, and share.
Like, comment, subscribe, share.
Or I guess we could say dislike now, too. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't care.
Click
one of them.
You could